Welcome back. To those of you who have already subscribed, I do appreciate it. If you would go ahead and leave a comment, a like, and if you want to subscribe, that would be appreciated as well. I do post regularly, minimum 3 times a week. Generally, I talk about orchids, and like I stated before, occasionally I do houseplants as well. I've not done a houseplant video in quite some time, but unlike orchids, houseplants don't really require as much attention. But I do have one that I am going to be doing a video on soon. I'm just waiting for her to dry out so I can put her in the new setup I'm wanting to put her in. Today, we are going to talk about these 3 beauties here. So these 3 I purchased in the month of June. We have the Phalaenopsis Charming Green Sugar Candy. I couldn't remember. And then we have the this is the DTPS Fullers, and then my Sarai replacement. So Sarai 2.0, to use Nina's phrase. Kind of like that. I hope she doesn't mind me using it. I am going to film the repotting just in case there are some things that are interesting to see that we can kind of learn from. I'm not sure if I'm going to post it. If it's just everything is smooth and everything goes well, I may or may not post this video, but I thought I'd film it just in case. So let's start with our DTPS Fullers. And it is Fullers F89308. There's that. As usual, it's in its little... I've had these soaking in CalMag and seaweed, so they're going to come out fairly easy in theory. I also grabbed my tweezers this time. Watch me not need them, but she appears, so she's got some good she's got some growing tips. Her stalk is really skinny. I don't know if that's normal for this plant or not, but we shall see. And we have a broken root that just came off that was already broken in there. It's probably because she's so compact in those little plastic pot there. But look at those blooms. Look at that. Oh my goodness. Let me turn her around so you can see her the right way. Isn't that beautiful? Let's clean up her roots real quick. There are actually not that many bad roots on here. Overall, her root system looks really good. And there are a few I'm going to have to cut off, but you always expect that with, especially with store-bought phals. I was actually expecting more dead roots in here. And like I said, if I don't find anything, probably won't post this one. So that's all we're going to do on that one. And as you can see, she's got fairly decent root system, and she's got plenty of spikes that were cut off here. So she is an easy bloomer apparently, and she does have room to bloom again if she recovers from the stress. So we'll set her in here for now. Let's do our Phalaenopsis Charming Green Sugar Cane. And look at the blooms on this. Let me see if I can find one that looks really good. This one. Looks like a big old, like she's wearing a big hat. Look at that. That looks so cute. And it's like a yellowish green, and she's got that soft baby pink in the lip. That is really cute. All right, let's just see. It's twice now I've almost popped one of those out like that. And overall, she is in appearance, but look how tight that moss is. I have to be a little more careful. There we go. All right, so let's see if we can find anything on this one. And she does have growing tips as well, so we'll have to be careful with those, not to break them, because I'm going to end up potting them in my usual Phalaenopsis mix of fir bark, perlite, and charcoal. Yeah, see the roots are already starting to desiccate in there. That root came out when I pulled that piece of moss off. And they're in there so tight they were already breaking off as well. Good thing I did not wait. So normally what I do is I will transition these guys a little bit and let the moss dry out little by little, longer and longer, to get them used to a drier environment. And then this way they transition to the bark setup a little easier and don't drop as many of their older roots. But they were in there so tight, so very tight, that I was afraid if I waited, then this moss would go over and ruin the root system that I did see. Now, she does have quite a few growing tips, so she should be okay. Those will transition into the bark and kind of take over the, I guess, absorbing of the nutrients in the water for her. But I don't have too many phals that drop their roots when I transition them into bark, because what I will do as well is I do water them more frequently when I do it this way and not ease them in by drying the moss out first. So I will water them more often in the bark until they get a little more established. So I'm going to take my tweezers now and just get some of the smaller moss that's in the top here, because the roots that are up here are very, very tight. And then this way I don't break any trying to get my finger in between them. I know some people use like the really long tweezers. I cannot function with those. I have to have the smaller ones. Let's just take a look real quick. So I probably just need to clip this string, which you probably can't see, but that little piece of string right there, and clip that off, and then a little piece here. But other than that, I am going to leave these roots alone because they look rather well. I don't feel any more of them that are wet or anything or squishy, so we'll leave that one. So I'll just cut those two little pieces off there. When you clip off the piece that's dead off of the tip, you want to cut right below where the the hard part is. You don't want to cut into the fresh root there. And I'm just going to take this one little seedling leaf here off, if I can get to it, because this way I can put, actually I'm going to both of these. This way I can put it a little bit deeper in the pot, so those roots will sit in the pot as well. Look, there's a new one growing right there. You can see it. It's right there. It's a nice new one growing. Alrighty, well, there she is. And then the last one, the Sarai 2.0. Let me just show you her blooms again. Look at those. They are just gorgeous. Just gorgeous. So I have been going back to the grocery store that I got the first one in once or twice a week, hoping to find a replacement. And a couple of days ago, I happened to go in there, and there she was. I was like, oh my goodness. And I just picked up the first one. I did not even go through and see if she was healthy. I literally just jumped in there, grabbed one, and was like, I gotta have this. Hopefully, I grabbed a good one. And this one is in broken down bark and has some root tips on there as well, along with the seedling plug in the middle, in the basket. I hate that. Maybe it'll just come on out. Let's see, because the basket is already all broken. Let's cut the basket out because there are some roots stuck in there. Let's see, the last one I had, she bloomed, she was gorgeous, she was healthy, she was fine. And then after I cut the spike, within, I want to say 3 days, she just went straight downhill. And I'm pretty sure it's because I got water in the crown without realizing it, because I did see the bottom leaves kind of turning yellow, but I just assumed that those were just the seedling leaves, not the seedling leaves, but she was just absorbing the latest leaf and nothing to worry about. And then after that initial, within 3 days, the two bottom and some of the middle leaves, and I tried to save her and was unsuccessful. So I went on search for a replacement, and I found her, and I think her roots are going to be really, really good once I clean all this off of here. Looks like only a couple of roots are going to need to be cut here, but this media is pretty broken down, because not only is that piece of, I call it peat, like a peat moss middle in there, the bark around the bottom was also breaking down and getting crumbly. So she definitely needed to come out of that pot. And if I see she's starting to go downhill again, I will definitely cut these blooms a lot sooner. So I'm going to take these seedling bulbs off. What do I call them? Bulbs. They're leaves. They're not bulbs, but just the two bottom ones. And then this way I can get the roots in a little bit further. All right, and let's get her a little cleaned up. Like I said, there's not much. I forgot to, but look how much grit is on my hand. I mean, it's almost like I took her out of soil. But let me show you the bark. So that is the bark just breaking up. So she's been in there for a minute, probably a lot longer than she needed to be. All right, let's get the cutting here. Let's see, I'll leave that one. So if you generally just look at all of these, they look fine. That's why I like to touch all the roots, because even though this root looks like it's good compared to the rest, if you squeeze, it's soft right there. So I will cut that right just before the growth. All right, so I am going to take them to the sink, rinse them off, spray them with some hydrogen peroxide, go pick a pot for them each, and we'll be back to put them in their pots. I thought I saw something weird, but I didn't. It's just a normal where root tried to come out and it just stopped. I'll be right back. All right, so I went ahead and cleaned them up, and I went ahead and repotted 2 of them. We'll pot the Sarai 2.0 together. And while I was repotting, I got to thinking I am going to go ahead and post the video, because sometimes it's just nice to watch a video where nothing went wrong. Just so that you know that there is a possibility that you don't always have to have a problem when you are repotting or purchasing an orchid, and that sometimes things just can work out nicely for you. You don't always have to have an issue. So I am going to go ahead and post this to encourage those people who always watch videos where what's wrong with my orchid, so they, you can see that not always something has to go wrong. Sometimes it's just a nice surprise that you just have to clean it up, trim the roots, spray it, wash it, and put it in a pot. And then go from there. Now she is, with this double spike, giving me a bit of a hard time because she keeps wanting to fall over. But that's okay. We are about to straighten her up. Just make sure I have all the media in there at the bottom. So I do have my stakes here. Got one, make sure I don't damage any of the roots going in. Now that is one thing you do want to be careful with, is to make sure that you don't go into any roots. And I do have rocks at the bottom of this pot, as well as the other 2. It's one, and whoop, don't you fall over on me. I think I'm going to put 2 clips on this one, just because. Actually, I'm going to use one of these little rubber ties down here at the bottom, just to kind of secure her a little bit better, because I feel like she's going to try to fall out here in just a few. There we go. All right, and then let's stake this one about, you know what, we'll stake this one right on the side of the pot, and what I'll do is put it back here, and I will use, again, just one of these that I'm sure we all have a bazillion of, because all of the store-boughts seem to have these days. Gonna tie that on there, and then we will also use another clip, and again, these are my favorite, the ones with the little big holes in them, and I always put them towards the stake. Smooth that up just a bit. There we go. Now she's not leaning, trying to come out so much. All right, so now that I've got her in the pot and everything, I think and I just broke a bud off, but that's okay. I need to reposition the stakes, because she is leaning quite a bit forward, and I would rather her lean quite a bit back. So let's see if we can get it a little bit further back. There we go. Yes. And then I'm just going to use this clip for now, just to see. Same thing with this side, is kind of leaning forward just a bit. And this is always a nice story whenever you have a repot where things just kind of go well for you and you don't have to worry about it and you're not stressing. I love these. These don't, well, these do happen often. More often than not, we do have my Phalaenopsis is turned into a rescue because the roots are horrible, or you end up with some fungus among us. There is my beauty. So let me just move that out of the way, and I'll get the other three, and we will bring the camera up a little bit so you guys can see them all three in their glory. All right, so let's just move it up just a wee bit. So there they are. So this one is the DTPS, or now a Phalaenopsis as well, fuller with the number. And then we have our Sarai 2.0 right here. And then we have our green charming green sugarcane right here. And I'll just give you a close-up of each bloom just so you can enjoy them. See if I can make that one just not so glary. There we go. Look at that. Maybe, yeah, let's do this one because he's not quite as... Isn't that just the cutest? I just think that's so cute how it looks like it has a hat on it. And then the DTPS fuller. Let's just get one of those blooms over here. Isn't that deepness so pretty with just that almost like a pinkish lip with a deep magenta throat. That is very pretty. And then of course my Sarai 2.0. I just think these cream colored flowers with this burgundy purple splash, and then with the yellow accenting on the lip with that solid white in the middle, that is just gorgeous, just gorgeous. Thank you again for watching, and again, this is one of those good stories where got 3 Phalaenopsis from a grocery store, big box store, and it ended up I did not have to cut a lot of roots. There wasn't a lot of damage to the roots themselves, much less the plants. Blooms look really well, and hopefully they'll continue to do good. And I will, like I said before, water them more frequently for the next probably month or so until they get a little more established. And they are in small bark instead of the large bark because they are used to a more compact environment and not so airy, but this way they at least get the air around their roots. And with this fresh media, hopefully they'll continue to grow, and with all the great growing tips on all of these, I don't expect anything less. Stay tuned for my summer care update because I am going to be looking at our phals and see which ones might bloom, because again, I'm wanting a big blooming this year on my phals. Till the next one, we'll see you.